welcome to WDR Rolls. I am your host, Mike B. And the toddler is going on the baby monitor. This is the fourth take of this intro. Going well. See you in a minute. Hello and welcome to WDR Rolls. I am your host, Mike B. This is the mumbo jumbo for March. That something one day I'm going to check the date before I come on here and do a video. 8th. Putting it out there. So yeah, that's happening. How are you all? I had a good time and thing, and I should stop waving at the camera as well because the zoom just goes every time, but I can't do 3D. How are you? Having fun? Nice, good. Enjoy yourselves playing games, I hope. All that stuff. Jolly good. I'm rambling. I suggest we just cut straight to the chase and let's go and have a look at what I've been playing. Played. Well, Frosthaven clearly being played a lot more. We are just on the cusp of moving from summer to winter, which I'll be interested to see what that adds to the game. If it adds any new mechanisms or stuff. I know that attacks are definitely going to begin on the colony, or definitely more of them are likely to happen, none of which have occurred in our scenario at the moment. We have upgraded most of the town. We've progressed our characters now. I think I've managed to get one to about level 3 or 4. Stuff is happening. That sort of heady, joyful, soupy stew of Gloomhaven, Frosthaven kind of is starting to purr. That stuff it does. You need to invest. It's the equivalent, I can't think, of like a good novel to a certain extent. You need to dig in before really you start getting returns on your dividends. Things that I've noticed definitely is the scenarios. One of the big critiques of Gloomhaven was that the scenarios will pretty much go in Cleverink and that's it. And there's been a lot more feel of a lot of the scenarios we've come across is that there's a lot more going on with them. There is objectives in there. There's challenges to be overdone. Some are killing stuff still. Yes, there's murdering everything and things. There's still a thing. Murder hobos is very much a thing of Frosthaven and Gloomhaven. But it has also got stuff going on. There's a little flavour to certain ones. Some are like you're on a sinking ship and you're trying to stop it before it sinks. Others destroy certain things to trigger something else or this and that. So there's just a bit of variety in there. It feels more variety than the original Gloomhaven did, which did feel a little bit go into the scenario and just murder everything. That combined with you learning your decks and kind of getting that feel for how that all kind of adapts and evolves as you level up, which is always a lovely mechanism of it. It is very enjoyable. It's very good. I've offered to the group. I've said, well, maybe we reach the winter, the end of this next scenario, next play session will take us to the end of summer. Maybe we pause there for a few games of some other stuff before then diving into that. That seemed to be met with we don't care, we keep playing, which I'm fine with. To be fair, I don't mind. I'm enjoying it. I happily will play it some more. I'm going to be playing this for a long time. But it's nice to have a dabble with other stuff occasionally. I know Tony has a stack of stuff he hasn't played. So there's that. Anyway, that's Frosthaven. I may later in this video do a little bit on how I organise it and how, which I use that term very loosely, but just a window into the mad world of my Frosthaven organisational plans. Maybe that might happen if I could be asked to get off this chair over there and take some photos and video stuff. It's a lot of effort. You're asking a lot. So there you go. Anyway, I have other stuff played. So Kanban EV, which is the latest version of Kanban. It's part of Ben's allotment of Vita Lasada games. This one was one of his early ones, actually. Came out under Stronghold Games and then been reprinted a couple of times, as is this version of it. Personally, the first play of it, I kind of bounced off of it. It's okay. You're in a car factory, a manufacturing plant, and I don't think I took any photos this night, by the way. So I'm going to have to nick some stock footage from somewhere. But yeah, so you're in a car manufacturing plant, and very similar to a bit on Mars, to be honest with you, is that you have areas you go to that give you actions, and you can do it. All of them relate to this build of the car. I kind of took me the first game anyway to get a grok of the engine, because you're building an engine, but it's kind of spread out a bit. If you go here to get this, then to do that, to put some cars on the production line and da-da-da-da-da. All very much the heady stew of Vita Lasada UOE stuff. Yeah, and it's okay. I need another play of it. yeah, now even talking about it, I need another play of it just to get a kind of savour for it a bit more. So I don't know if we will get a chance to do that. But yeah, it was fine. The theme was there. It kind of was there. It meshed all right, but it didn't, not totally like. But yeah, it's more of that heady, big, thinky Vita Lasada stuff. And there's this bigger engine. It's kind of this big engine you've got to kind of puzzle your way out of, and it definitely didn't feel as intuitive as some of his other stuff. I still think Escape Plan, I think of all of them so far, stands out to me as my favourite. But there we go. Yeah, so maybe we'll get another game of that played. There's plenty of other stuff. Lots of stuff get played. But there you go. There's Kanban EV from Eagle Griffin. Is it them publishing it? I can't remember. Whoever published it. It's them anyway. Other than that, we played Baren Park, which is a tile line game that Ben has. For 4 players, I think you're basically building a park for your bears to be in, and it's Tetris style. You're filling in the boards, you different shaped boards. As you fill it in, the stuff you fill in will give you more shapes to put on your board, and so on and so forth until you fill it up. Very light, very breezy, very easy. A nice sort of opener or finale to an evening of gameage. It plays fairly quick, very intuitive. Something you can teach. Something I have contemplated before now potentially as something I could pick up for her who does not play games indoors to play. Who sounds like she may have come home, which is the dog now has gone on full alert mode just in case something exciting happens. But yes, so that's that. I distracted myself with that. Baren Park, yes, all right. Baren Park, fine, lovely, jolly good. Other than that, I say we play Frosthaven. Our go-tos of stuff that we played post Frosthaven. Some evenings we don't get a full scenario in. Is Cracker Poker, Cockroach Poker, a cracker, I must say, but under a tenner I paid for that game, and it is dividends. It's paid back in gameage. Fluff, good old Fluff, still gets an airing, which is Fluff is the dice chucking Liar's Dice. Came for the pound shop for £1, unbelievably, and great value for money. That again, sheer play value to stuff. I mean, it's worth its weight in gold. But anyway, that's the other stuff we've been playing, and that I feel is all I've ever played it. Because I didn't play the other week, because I would have got to play Kanban the first time, but I had to stay home and they all went to play elsewhere and left me, abandoned me. Enough of me anyway. This is not all about me. Let's have a peek at the news. Here is the news. The news. So the newsage. Well, there was a bit on Awaken rounds I was going to cover because they were doing a big push just as I was leading up to doing this video of stuff, their next objective stuff this year, 2023's efforts, and what can we expect. That dropped, I think, a week ago. And to be fair, I've not really seen much buzz off of that, but I did finally sit down and just check it out. I may have to stop the video because Owen Dawes has come home now. She will not game, and the little man is upstairs, and he hasn't gone to bed, and now he's going to have a whole conversation about the whole thing. So I'm just going to sort that out, and then I'm going to come back and do news, and it'll be fucking sweet, and we'll have a lovely time. Because otherwise, what's going to happen is she's going to walk in the fucking here, and then that'll be enough problem. Well, this has been an adventure, isn't it? So news. Now the dog's in here with me because he's run out. I'm trying to keep him out there because he's barking. Now he's in here, so let's hope he can control his shit for 5 seconds. Right, so Awaken Realms. I can't even remember what I said, but the news. This is the fucking news. Awaken Realms have announced all the shit they're going to do this year. Okay, everyone got that? You got that? Good. Right. So they are doing Vault Story Dice, which is basically, like, really, that's, of course, you're going to be a crisp packet. Total tit. Vault Story Dice. It's a game, I think you can play it. It's basically a story-driven game. You roll the dice, and there's little pretty dice, and you tell a story and stuff. Things, I think. I don't know. Charlie, I think, might enjoy it. You just play a role-playing game. Yeah? Don't need to buy very expensive dice. They look cool, but very expensive, I imagine. So, yeah, whatever. Stalker, they announced it based on the video game license, post-apocalyptic type thing in Chernobyl, from what I recall, of you running around and shooting shit, collecting things, a bit Fallout-ish. I don't remember playing much of the Stalker games, although they were very big. Anyway, they're doing a board game of that. Wonderful players. Okay. Personally, I'm not invested because I'm not into the big theme of it. So I never played video games that made that impact on me. So I'm like, huh, about that. Dragon Eclipse is 1-2 player, a 1-to-2 player, story-driven kind of game. Again, kind of rules me out because I'm not a big 1-to-2 player, so I'm like, yeah, not going to get played. So it looked quite nice, pretty and all that, but just not going to get played. And then finally, the big thing they announced was Nemesis Retaliation, third Nemesis game. This one basically looks like they've gone full Aliens in that you are finally fighting back against the alien hordes. So Nemesis at the moment, I obviously own Nemesis and they backed Nemesis Lockdown. And I found ultimately, and I've said this before in a prior video, that Lockdown was kind of like Nemesis kind of 2.0. It kind of shined up a few bits and did a little bit of quality of life, but essentially didn't really reinvent the wheel massively. And now thanks. Now dogs let the door open and left the door open, so it's fucking crazy. Yeah, anyway, Nemesis, Lockdown, yeah, ultimately I was underwhelmed with it, that it didn't really do much to reinvent the wheel. And I think I've said I'm probably going to get rid of it, to be honest, because it's like, they're basically the same game. And I think they missed the trick on the monsters and everything else. There was a lot of, it had a cool pitch black style vibes that it could have gone for, and it dropped the ball on pretty much all counts. So I'm left kind of like, yeah, it's a shame. So that. So I don't know, ultimately out of all of that, I'm pretty like, yeah. I mean, number one, I've called off a lot of Kickstarters this year. I do think Awaken Realms have done some cool stuff. I think they at least attempt to do, to not be clearly like we're a cash grab, like where Core Mini often feels just like, and here's another Zombicide game because we have no more money this month. It just feels a little bit more like cash grabbing and Core Mini's kind of techniques. That's how I feel anyway. They kind of I've soured on them. Awaken Realms, I mean, they're pretty good. They've come a long way, very short period of time, and at least they try. I give them that. Maybe sometimes not everything is as smooth or works as great as it should. It kind of clunky around the edges, but they have some charm to the things. Having said that, none of that particularly sets my world on fire. Certainly not enough for me to want to sink 100 or 200 quid into any of that. Nemesis is probably going to be quite cool, I suspect. I ain't got the money, so unless I sell that and some other kidneys and stuff, maybe, but I'm not sold. But anyway, you may be, and you may have an extensive amount of cash that you want to sink into some of this, in which case, out of all that, the one that probably is going to be alright is Nemesis. If they pull that off and do a good job and do something different with it, could be cool. I like the idea of you fighting the aliens things, but plenty of them I have already, but could be cool. That Unmatched as getting a solo co-op mode. There's like a boxed version, I believe, of Unmatched coming with some characters in it that will allow you to play either solo or co-op. That's pretty much it. I mention it purely because I know Unmatched is fairly big at the moment, and very much definitely on some of the UK Facebook groups. One, not to name any of them. One of them has been very much Unmatched and stuff. That I see that a lot. It's one I often have thought about playing, and then thought it's a bit of another rabbit hole to go down. And how often is this going to get played? So I didn't invest. I may look at the app. So this personally, again, for me, doesn't have much draw, but I get it. I see it. But yeah, if you're interested in that and that enlightens you, then go forth and unmatch your match stuff. I'm not going to say that too much. So there's that. Big news on the horizon. The big news is this fucking motherfucker. Look at this. World of Warcraft, the board game. So this has been along on my list of Grail games. I've never played it, if I'm honest with you. But I have a great love affair with World of Warcraft. The concept of a World of Warcraft board game, I was like, I don't know why at the time when I could have possibly got this, it wasn't on my radar. I don't think I was playing WoW at the time. Not sure. Anyway, yes, it comes in a glorious FFG coffin box. This came into my possession as it was on Board Game Trading chat recently in the last week or so. And I commented on one of my Grail games. Jamie, from my Sunday group, decided to buy it for me. So here we are. Is the World of Warcraft, the board game, Grail game. Thank you, Jamie. That was all I can say. Again, I have said thank you already to him. But yeah, it's like, thank you. It's genuinely lovely. And I'm saying no more rude words about him. This video. So yeah, the World of Warcraft, the board game. I don't know. I've looked at there's stuff we can go on the journey together. It's got a bit of a flappy box lid. We'll sort that out. I saw today on Board Game Geek there was a whole article about fixing your corners fell off your boxes. Wonderful. So we can do a little bit of DIY there. But I'll take that. I love the glorious big coffin box things. Wasn't they great? Kind of like, I'm getting my money's worth there. There's a big fucking board of Azeroth. There's a lot of cards, and there is a fucking shit ton of minis in there. I haven't even got as far as I'm opening all this up. Oh dear. Oh, the cards have survived. So yeah, there's a load of cards. There's loads of fucking minis. Look at this. There's trolls and fucking demons and more demons and things and stuff and nonsense. Someone's tried to paint that shade. So yeah, there's stuff in here. I don't even know if it's all here, but we'll look at it later on. It is a game that is what I've been on my list for a while. What else to say? Yeah, it's an adventure game. It's kind of a bit runebound-ish. I think the idea is basically you kind of... Oh, well, I've completely fucked. This was a terrible idea. I'm just going to chuck that down on the floor down there, because otherwise I'm going to be fiddling with that for half an hour. So yeah, you are adventurers. You can play either co-op or competitive, I believe. The actual game is supposed to be played with 2 teams of 3 or 4. 3, I think. Of 1 horde, 1 alliance, and you're doing quests and stuff, fighting things, and then you're going to go and fight a big boss. Which team wins things. So kind of runebound-ish. But I believe the cooperative, cooperative way is the better way of playing it as 1 team, because the problem is otherwise you get this whole you'll go, and it goes on all night. I don't know. We will play it at some point. I read the rules, and we will give it a blast because, you know, there's a bit of gaming history. More importantly, a Grail game for me. Something that I've always from afar kind of gone, oh, you know, we've all got them. Well, there you go. There's 1 now I have. So we will play it. I will report back. We'll see how long it plays because I hear Twilight Imperium levels of length of gameplay. So we'll save it. Maybe Easter. Easter's coming up. Fucking Mike, good idea. There's a job for future Mike. Future Mike, get on that shit. Past Mike is informing you of that we can play this fucking Easter. It hasn't been Easter yet, has it? No, it fucking hasn't. Pancake Day, but not Easter. I'm right on this shit. So there we go. There's that, and that on that fucking bombshell, we get to the end of the news, I think, because there's probably more, but I have nothing more for you here. Other than that, what else have I been doing? There's possibly a lot I've been doing. I'm just racking my brain quickly for what. I have watched some stuff. Obviously, Last of Us has been watching. I've got 1 more episode to go. That's out next week. I've enjoyed it immensely. It's very well done. I think it is one of this. Some of the episodes are astounding. There was moments of it where I felt that they could have spent more time, less on side characters, though episode 3 was fantastic, than on Joe and Ellie, but I'll see how it all wraps up. But generally on the whole, it's been fucking top tier stuff. It's been very good. If you've enjoyed and played the video game, then you will enjoy watching this. So there's that. I've also been watching the new Mandalorian started. I watched it. I was left a bit. I don't know whether Andor has a bit ruined it for me in that was so well done and directed and written and just that this sudden revert to Muppets and Star Wars stupidity of space lasers and space wizards and stuff. No space wizards though. All that kind of, it felt a little bit poop. It was all right. But yeah, I was left going, it looks a bit like Guardian. I don't know. It was, as an opening episode of The Mandalorian, it was found a bit wanting personally for me. Especially the stupid fucking space pirates, if I'm honest. Avast, you Mandalorian, or whatever shite they come out with. So yeah, I don't know. It's all right. It's whizzy, stupid Star Wars whiz-bang stuff. I get it. And I'm sure Filoni's involved. I'm sure very shortly we'll go to deep dive into deep cuts of the Star Wars and the Rebels and the modern stuff. We saw space whales. We saw a bit of them. That's about the only thing I took off from that. But I don't know. We'll see. But I'm feeling this should be the last. I feel this should be it for Mando. Do this one last season, I think, and that's tap out because it's feeling a little bit like. We shall see. Anyway, so that I also watched Fall actually, which I'd seen from afar. I thought that sounds kind of cool. About two girls climb up a radio antenna in Texas or somewhere with this supposedly stupidly high. I can't. It's ridiculous. The game would make a good game. The actual realities and the physics and all that of the movie is, don't think too hard about it. But the idea is this really, really fucking tall tower they're going to climb up to the top of because reasons. And I ain't going to go into it here. And it has some shonky effects. Some of it is terrible at the very start, and there's a few shots you just go, oh god, why are you showing that shot? I wouldn't have put it in. It's bad. But get past that. And once they start climbing the actual tower, aside from some wobbly shots, but not on the whole, not too bad. Once they start climbing that tower, that is the 10 minutes or quarter of an hour's worth of the tensest. Because you can't. I'm not buying this, and then you do buy it, and you're like, I'm fucking tense. I'm really fucking tense. And the dog's barking, put me off. And then the rest of the movie's a bit poop, if I'm honest with you. It doesn't live up. If they could have somehow sustained that level of tension and that whatever shit was going on in that very early part of the movie throughout it, and it wasn't that movie I thought it was going to be, if I'm honest with you, it would have been 100 times better. As it stands, the first half hour is quite entertaining and tense and stressy, and you probably would have come out with like, oh, if it had been that level sustained. The rest of it, I kind of found a little bit wanting, if I'm honest. And not to spoil anything. Well, no, I can't say anything. But there's bits at the end where you're just left going, well, how are they going to get out of this? And clearly, the screenwriter had no idea either, because they were just cut to something else. But how did all that happen? Okay, what? Okay, just don't worry about it, because this. Okay, fine. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I don't waste so much time on that. I expected more. My expectations were just. Now the fucking door's open. Sorry. Anyway, interruptions aside from she who will not play games, which you won't have seen. She'll be off camera. Amazing. Fall. I don't know. I'm spending a lot of time talking about Fall. How it wasn't very good. So it wasn't very good. I think that's it. There may be more. I've lost my track. I've been interrupted so many fucking times trying to film this video. I'm about done. I'm exhausted, and I've achieved fuck all. Oh yes, so coming up, Charlie has done some actual play podcasts, and he's put them into videos of him playing various little games and stuff. So he sent them to me. I need to get them uploaded. I will do. Me personally, yes, we haven't done it. So if we haven't done it, there might be the Gloomhaven, how the fucking Gloomhaven insert stuff works. That I may have done that. I don't know. That may be in this video. I'll do it in the next one. Fuck me, rambling into a video once again. Other stuff. I'm sure other stuff. I don't know. I'm gibbering on. Thanks for all the news. We've got new subscribers. I'm sure we're like nearly on 500 subscribers, which is stupid. But hello, subscribers of new variety. And that's it, really. I'm going to sign out at that point. I think I've nothing more to add to this, really. So I'm going to fuck off before I outstay my welcome. So on that bombshell, adios.